Hi, this is Jason Radford, and today I want to show you how to use the Collective Intelligence Task Battery's Sudoku puzzle. So here I have my test research team. I'm going to go to Add New Clone Experiment and select the CITB Sudoku. Now I'll give it a name that makes it easy for me to find, GT Sudoku. And now I have my own copy of the Sudoku problem. Uh, I can launch it. I'll show you in a second what the Sudoku actually looks like. Here I have all of the files that are associated with that study, which I can edit as I see fit to change anything about the study that I want. Manage variables allows me to set variables that I want for this particular study, and I'll show you that in a second. And lastly, there's an export data tab where I can grab the data that's being collected, created by the task. So let's start with the variables. So collective intelligence task battery Sudoku is a Sudoku task in which a team is trying to solve the Sudoku while chatting with one another to come up with collective strategies. So this first variable is the chat channel matrix where we set who can talk to who. By default, it actually should be set to all. I'll make sure that that's updated. And the all chat means that everybody can talk to everybody else on a single chat channel. You can also set a custom chat network configuration. So in this example, player 1 is talking on channels 1 and 2. Player 2 is talking with player 1 on channel 1. And player 3 is talking on channel 2, again with player 1, who has 2 channels. Next are these experiment count or the countdowns. So the CITB uses standard timers to go from one segment of the task to the next. So there's a timer for the instructions, a timer for the experiment, and the timer for the results. And the reason for this is that it allows everybody to have the same amount of time at each stage. So there's no, it's fair for all teams. For the Sudoku experiments, we generally recommend 2 to 5 minutes working on the task. The instructions, we recommend 60 seconds. And this is the amount of time that they get to read what you're asking them to do and look at what the interface is going to look at. And then for the results, we recommend 10 seconds. This just shows people how many that got correct at the end of the study. Next is the difficulty level. So this is how hard the Sudoku puzzle is going to be. This is the number of blank numbers sorry, this is the number of actual filled in responses they will see. If you use 0, you get the default puzzle. If you use, which I'll set it to 0. If you use anything between 17 and 62, you'll get a random puzzle with that number of Sudoku numbers shown. 62 is really easy. It's most of the puzzle filled in. 17 is the hardest, where almost none of them are filled in, and people have to try to infer the puzzle. Generally, we recommend using difficulty level 0 because it allows you to have the same puzzle for everybody. If you wanted to use a different puzzle for everybody, you can change the default puzzle. You can actually have it generate a puzzle using the 17 to 62 and then reuse that. I'm not going to get into that, but that's totally possible. Next is the next experiment variable. This is how you control which task people do when this task is over. So generally with the CITB, people are going to do one task, then they're going to do the next task, then they do the next task, and this is how you control what that next task is. If you leave it blank, then it means that's the last task. Lastly is the show instructions variable. If it's true, people see the instructions. If it's false, they don't see the instructions, and this is primarily for debugging. That way you set it for false. When you make some changes, you can skip the instructions, go straight into the experiment, and test to see if your changes actually did what you wanted them to do. Whenever you want to change these, make sure you change them. I'm going to change this actually to 20. Then press the update button to make sure that those changes get saved. So now I'm going to show you Sudoku. Again, we start with the instructions timer. The instructions, we have 10 seconds. People see the point of the study and some screenshots so they know what they're about to see. And here we're going to enter in the answers, which I don't remember what they are. So we're just going to pretend like it's a 6. Oops, that's a 6. Or whatever. I actually don't know what it is. Chat channel, so where we can chat and coordinate on filling in these boxes. Did I get any of these right? No. Sudoku puzzle not solved within a given time. 0 points for correctly filled in squares. I didn't get any of them right. And then this task is over. Either it's the end of the chain of the task battery, or we then automatically move on to the next task as a group. Down here we have the data that gets written. So in cell B2, added a 5, it was false. C2 I added an 8, that was also false. Then I changed it to 6, that was also false. That was not true. And so 3 effort, I put in three values. They got none of them. They were all incorrect. So my skill had 0. And then the team, 0. All right. Let's see. So let's talk about how you go in and change this study as you need to. So what we want to do here is first show you this HTML file. This is where all of the basic interface gets shown. So there's this top here, the timer. These are the instructions. You need to remove this free section piece. It's no longer needed. This is the results message gets saved here, and then the experimental interface with the Sudoku and the chat gets shown here. Countdown.js is a utility function for timers. Data collection, this is where we are keeping track of the data and saving it. So when somebody makes a guess, this is where we calculate whether it's correct or incorrect and save it as, this is where we save it as correct or incorrect. Whether it's correct or incorrect gets done in the Sudoku.js. This is where we keep track of, as a whole, how many did this participant get correct? How many did this team get correct? Initial board.js is just that default board. Actually, I don't think this is being used anymore. I probably can archive that. Instructions text. This is where if you want to change the instructions, you can. You can come in and change the title, the purpose. If you want to add new images with descriptions of the interface, you add them here. Just upload a file, put in the file name, and then add the description using the same structure here. And you can delete these or add more. It's totally fine. Network chat is another utility function for handling the creating the network, the chat network. Player text colors gives everybody different colors. Seed random is a utility function for randomization, useful for randomizing the numbers on the board. But if you want to change the board, then this is not where you go do that. Solved board, again, this is not used here. Sudoku.js, here we go. This is where you see the default board and the solved board. This is the standard one. If you put in 0, you can see it. If you wanted to change it, just change this, and you're done. If you want to randomize, just set a number between 17 and 64, and there's a randomization function somewhere in, I think actually in the Sudoku.js. Yeah, build initial state. This is where the magic happens for randomly generating a board. These are more utility functions, a part of generating that board. Yeah, a lot of those functions to make that work. Get calc matching. Does this actually was it correct or not? Update the UI. So when I put in a number, somebody else sees that number. So there, you get the idea. These are all of the functions that are specific to the Sudoku thing. This is a library, an open source library for creating Sudoku boards. It's super helpful. Then there's this template structure. So this is the core JS function for all of the JS code for all of the collective intelligence tasks. So it has everything from handling images to what happens when I submit an answer and handling timers. So if you wanted to change what happens after a timer, this is where you would control that. And lastly are all these CSS files which you can use to change how things look and feel. All right, last thing I want to show you is posting the Sudoku online so that people can take it. What you want to do is you want to click the admin button, and that'll take you to our experiment administration page, which I've already opened for the sake of time. Want to add a new category, called it test Sudoku. You can call it whatever you want. This is the description. Again, whatever you want. This creates the tile on the Sudoku page. If I click that tile, there's nothing there. What I need to do is go down and add this Sudoku experiment. And now when I click that Sudoku tile, I will take the Sudoku experiment. All right. I'm not going to go into how to set this up for multi-person, how to chain it to other tasks, or how to make this Sudoku tile look better. There are other videos that do that I'll link to later. For now, I just want to show you how to use Sudoku and get it online. I will see you at the next tutorial video.